Okay, so we have 4 panelists, and what I was planning to do is to do 5 minutes each in a specific comments and questions that I will raise, and then of course you can deploy on it, but I will try to track as much as possible your 5 minutes so that we can have at least some time for questions. So let me start in order, and the beauty of this panel is that you have people from different sectors. So we have Theo de Jager, president from the Pan-African Farmer Organizations, Mokhtar Fall, director of AgroSeeds, Ididi Kadisal, marketing director, and James Konagwa from Ethiopian country representative of EcoBank. So let me start with Theo. And as part of these Pan-African farmer organizations, we are talking of economic transformation. And we know that small is only beautiful as we can aggregate today. If we can have a scale because of the standards and the conditions that the market is putting to the commodities we are working. So what I wanted to hear from you is how you see this in terms of the farmer organizations, how they can perform, how they can play the game of this economic transformation to increase the value added in their value chains. So if you have 5 minutes and you can expand around that.
Thank you, Chair. The constituency I represent is probably the largest one on our continent, the farmers. They are also the poorest ones in the world, but they don't want to be that. They are actually finished with being poor and being neglected. They want to beat poverty through the creation of wealth. That's actually the only way to beat poverty. And creating wealth is a business game. So it's business rules that apply. The first rule is that to survive in business, you need to be competitive. African farmers can only be competitive in the world which became so small, where we are in competition with the best farmers in the world every day, if they have access to the best technologies, to markets. And for that, they need good investments. Now, capital is as shy as a deer. You scare it and it runs. So we need a sound policy environment where investors will not be scared off. The way to influence policy is through advocacy, to have a common voice. There is no way we can run from farmer to farmer to promote a revolution in agricultural output, to do empowerment and training and exposure to technologies. You have to do it in a group. And that's the business in which we are in organized agriculture. But this is one of our best assets too. We have now 78 national farmers' organizations on this continent. It's the only continent where we can truly say that we have established an umbrella structure for our farmers from Cape Town to Cairo, from Madagascar to Morocco. There are still 5 countries in which apex organizations are not yet affiliated to regional farmer structures. And in my home structure, Sakal, Southern Africa, it's only Angola, because they do not have one as yet. They do not have an independent farmers organization. But I wish I could have bottled the experience we've had at the end of last year in a meeting between presidents of farmers organizations and shared it with you today. When at the end of 2-day-long deliberations, the farmers' presidents actually made a date with each other. They opened their diaries and marked it for 20 years from now. So in 20 years from now, the face of this continent must have been changed through agriculture. It's the only sector, the economy of this continent, that can really bring about broad-based agricultural revolutions. Doing away with technology which is still being used, but which is 3,000 years old, like the wooden plow or the hando. And bringing about those kind of technologies which my generation is actually too old to master now. I remember when I was a child, my father made me a makeshift tractor, like with 4 wheels, and my siblings would push me around in it. And when my mother complained, because we had blood on our knees and elbows, my father said, they are practicing the skills they will use one day when they are driving real tractors. Today, our children lie in front of the televisions, playing games on Xboxes and this kind of stuff. And when I complained, my father said, leave them alone. They are practicing the skills they will use one day when they are farming with a GPS, laptop-driven tractors and implements. And it's not as if it is too far away. If we were children, I would have said, it's a few sleeps, and we are there. Because as business people, we must always start off with stock taking. And what we have on this continent, in terms of 46% of the world's underutilized land, groundwater, on average the best climate you can dream of to farm on, heat and light units, and the people. Those are things which money cannot buy. What we lack, the value chains, the expertise, the technologies, the linkages to markets, infrastructure. Those are things which money can buy and will, with or without us. Our biggest challenge is to ensure that the broadest part of the base, the bottom line, the poorest of the poor, are being taken along. That in creating that wealth, it will not be somebody else who will explore this great wealth in terms of farming, but that it will be us, ourselves. And we have access to that. We have some of the world's largest farmers on this continent. We also have some of the most competitive farmers on this continent. It will be done by farmers, through farmers, for farmers. When I speak of them, it's a fallacy that farmers look like me. The majority of them today are women, and the youngsters are coming to it because what is beautiful to them are all these digital stuff and the idea that you can actually reach those 1, 2, 3, 4 dreams, that you can actually create wealth from the soils.
Thank you. Just one follow-up question to you, and it's regarding one of the issues you mentioned, the technology and the kids learning advanced technology. So one of the problems that the small farmers face is that these technologies are expensive and they require a part of it, a part-time renting of those. So there is some experience in Argentina and other Latin American countries of the creation of this renting market for infrastructure, for tractors and so on. Have you seen successful experiences in Africa on this type of activities? If you can, in 1 minute or 1.5, answer that.
Yes. What farmers are doing, and they're doing in different ways, different areas, is that they go back to the most basic form of cooperatives. Sure, smallholder farmer cannot afford a tractor or a high-tech implement, but 50 of them together, 100 of them together can. And by putting the mechanization right in the middle of the cooperative, they plow in one stroke, plant in one stroke, service the crop, spray it in one stroke, and then harvest in one stroke, market in one stroke, because then it becomes a volumes game. In Uganda, it is being led by agribusiness. I know AFGRI has set up some of these, what they call mechanization rings. In Arusha, we've done it through value chain-based financing. Elsewhere in Tanzania, we've done it through the hub and spoke production of cotton and sisal. In South Africa, Agri-Limpopo, in my home province, this is the way we organized smallholder farmers who cannot even afford their membership fees of farmers' organizations. They do not become a member themselves, but their cooperative is a member, and we raise the membership fees from the profits there. And they do not even notice it, because as individuals, for example, in the mango industry, in archer making, they get less than 400 rand per ton, because they bring such small volumes to the factories. But the larger volume in the cooperative earn them up to 1,000 rand per ton. It can be negotiated simply because they do it as a collective. And cooperatives, once again, is farmers' organizations in its simplest form.
Thank you so much.